YouTube. Once again, everyone, thank you for joining in. So for our audience joining from YouTube and LinkedIn, it would be great if all of you could introduce yourselves in the chat. Tell us your name, your current occupation. It's wonderful getting to know all of you. And I'll read out a few responses. So we have Ramesh from Bangalore. Welcome to the webinar. Thank you for joining us. We have Kritika joining us from Chennai. Wonderful to meet you. It would be great if you could all tell us your occupations as well. What are you currently doing? And then we have a few more responses on LinkedIn with people saying that there are a lot of people joining us from Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai. Okay, so many people joining. Thank you all for your introductions. It's wonderful having all of you. And with that, I think it's time for us to start the webinar. And as you all might know, today's session is on ITIL Foundation version 5, what has changed and what it means for your study plan. And if you are here, chances are that you're already either, in the field of IT service management, or you're trying to figure out how to stay relevant in this field. So whatever is your case, here's the thing. We know that ITIL has been updated and it has evolved so much, and that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So this is going to be a really insightful and interesting session for all of you. Before that, I think I would also like to introduce myself. I'm Shweta and I'll be the host for today's webinar. We also have a wonderful speaker join us today. I will give his introduction shortly. But before we get to that, we have a few ground rules for today's webinar. As always, if you have any questions, we request you to post your questions in the Q&A box. We will try to address all of your questions. If not during, as soon as they come, we will surely address them towards the end of the webinar. Please use the chat box effectively and keep the conversations related to today's topic. It would be great if you could all refrain from sharing any external links. We always love hearing your thoughts, so you can always drop your comments in the chat. For your certificate of participation, we will be launching a poll towards the end of the webinar, and you can share your full name to receive your certificate in your registered email ID, and you will be receiving that within 48 working hours. So that's the ground rules as always for the webinar. And as you all know, you have joined Simplilearn webinars. I just want to quickly check how many of you are aware of Simplilearn. Have you joined our webinars before, or is this your first time? If it's your first time, you can comment first in the chat. And if you've attended our webinars before, that would also be great to know. So please share your responses. And for people joining us from other platforms, you can just comment and we can surely see your responses there. So Nitin says, since 2013, I can't read the name, first time. So many first timers. Some are saying not the first time, somebody with a lot of experience. Okay, so many of you who are familiar, and a lot of you who are attending us for the very first time as well. So I'll quickly take 2 minutes of your time and introduce Simplilearn to all of you. So at Simplilearn, we help learners transform their lives by empowering them with digital skills, and we do these through digital courses that we offer online. And currently, we have helped over 8 million learners, advance their careers across 150 plus countries. And we do these through global partnerships with universities and also top industry partners. So on the screen right now, you can see some of our industry partners and university partners. We have global universities like Michigan Engineering Professional Education. We have Virginia Tech. And when it comes to industry partners, we are partnering with Google, Microsoft, IBM, Amazon Web Services, and a lot more as well. So these are some of the highlights that we have for you. And one other key highlight is about the learner experience that you can expect at Simplilearn. So most of our learners have reported a 50% salary hike on completion of courses with us. And we have also been rated 4.8 out of 5 by most of our learners. So this is something that we're really happy about. And our graduation rate is also at 80%. We see that usually for online programs, people drop out after the first 2 weeks, and that does not happen with us. So we have a graduation rate of 80%, which is a highlight we wanted to emphasize in this webinar. So with that, I hope we are clear about Simplilearn, and it's time for us to get the webinar started. So there's a key statement we are starting with, and that is about ITIL and why it had to evolve. So as you all know, in 2026, we had to address the needs of the changing market, especially with AI. And I'm sure Bipin is going to speak more on that, but this is the main aspect due to which the version 5 has come across. And today's discussion is also about this. So the emphasis also is on AI to a great extent. Right. With that, I would also like to set the agenda for today's webinar, what you can expect and what we're going to cover. So we are gonna discuss why ITIL remains essential in the age of AI. Then we will move on to ITIL's evolution over time. We'll also cover what's new in ITIL version 5, the key concepts. Then we're going to talk about the version 5 exam, which is a very important aspect. We're going to give you an exam overview, the errors and strategy to plan ahead. We also have a 4-week study plan by candidate profile. So even if you're new to ITIL or if you have the certification, we have separate study plans for both of you. Does your existing ITIL certification still count? That's a major question or a doubt that a lot of aspirants have. So we're going to clear that during this webinar. And finally, we are going to have a program overview of the ITIL version 5 foundation course that we provide at Simplilearn. So that's the agenda for today's session. We are really excited and we hope all of you are too. With that, I would like to come to one of the best parts of the webinar for me as a host, and that's introducing our guest speaker. So we are joined today by Bibip Deshmukh. And as you can see on the screen, Bipin brings over 4 decades of experience in IT, working across service management, process design, quality systems, and large-scale transformations. He is not just he has not just trained professionals, but he has helped organizations like Tata Communications and CTS actually implement these frameworks in real world environments, which is very important to have someone with deep understanding of this field for webinars like these. And what I personally love about his sessions is that they're not just theoretical, they are very practical and directly applicable to how you work today. So I've sat through a lot of his webinars and I found it extremely insightful and helpful, and so has our audience as well. So I'm sure you're all in for a really informative webinar today. And with that, Bipin, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. It would be great if you could introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah. Thank you, Shweta. It's great to be here as a co-host with you for the ITL webinar. So as Shweta has rounded up very well, my experience profile and all what I'm doing, I'm associated with Simplilearn for over 13 years now, conducting Prince 2 Foundation and Practitioner as well as the ITL when it came into picture, and ITL 4 onwards, 2019 onwards, I'm taking ITL classes also. I have been associated with more than 125 plus sessions on ITL 4, including the corporate batches as well as the batches related to the public batches, which we call it a GLVC. And a few new additions to the profile which has come in terms of very recent ones were Autodesk related this thing, then related to banks, couple of banks I've taken these sessions on, and global banks as well as Indian banks. Okay, all these are very critical service management. Now we will also go understand how this is going to take us forward. So that is in store for us. We'll cover that. But apart from this, I also have an experience of implementing SAP, JD Edwards, Oracle E-Business Suite, etc. across the globe in various business verticals like retail, that is SAP ISU is for retail, or the billing systems for basically the leading gas organization across the globe. So that is few of the experiences which are there, which all generally comes into picture when I deliver the sessions as well. So that's it. Okay, you get over to Shweta once again.
Yes, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm sure everyone's waiting to hear more from you about ITL and what has changed. So I will get right into it with a very important question. We did talk about how AI is changing things, and we all know that a lot of people feel that AI is replacing traditional frameworks right now. So why does ITIL still matter today, especially in an AI-driven environment? Does it still stay relevant? This is one of the most common queries we get from our participants as well. So it would be great if you could talk on this.
See, AI is again, whenever we are using any systems or procedures or methodologies or frameworks, they are very critical and important. They form the basis of our work, basis of our working. But however, these tools of AI tools, automation tools, and all, they are icing on the cake, and they enable us to actually accentuate the way which we work in the organization. They all are basically enablers. They help us do things better. And that is what is important to understand. These AI tools and automation tools will help us to do things better, and which will free the team working on the mundane activity to take more initiatives towards strategically moving towards delivering the way the experience is to be delivered to the consumer in line with their expectation that it will enhance us to do. It also reflects on the specific structuring which we need to do, that is in terms of the service value chain activities which we talk about, or the value streams which we talk about in an organization, how consistent, how useful, and how we can continuously keep on raising the bar while delivering the products and services or digital products and services to our consumer. That's very, very critical and important, which is also enhanced by using of AI in creating a value stream, which enables actually uh, repetitive activities to be taken care by the tool, and the strategic things would be handled by a human being. So ITIL is today, when we are talking about version 5, it is basically trying to match to the realities of the world, the how everything can be delivering, because the customer is at the center of everything when we are delivering. Whether the customer is internal to the organization or external to the organization, it really doesn't matter. But it is important that these enablement of services, production services, digital production services, enable delivery of products to the consumer in a way in which they expect to be delivered better, faster, easier, reduces the effort score, and increases the net promoter score for the service provider organization. That is very, very important aspect of AI. But there are few things which are still under considerations or constraints, which we will cover which we already covered during the session as a part of the ITL4 framework or 5 framework. We basically talk about also the considerations which are needed, the challenges which are needed to be addressed as a part of implementing AI or enabling services, product and service management through AI. We are already taking into consideration as a part of the discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I think it also takes away the concern that a lot of people have that AI is completely going to replace my job or I would not be relevant. It just makes it much more efficient and much more faster in a lot of cases. With that, I think a very important aspect is also the evolution of ITIL. ITIL has had multiple versions over the years. So for someone who is new to this journey, could you please give them a brief overview of what those versions are and how much it has evolved over time?
So initially, if you are all aware, this is a basic fundamental approach which was taken by British government way back in 1980s, where they started the common practices or the best practices across the industry, how IT can utilize, or IT in departments in various uh, business vertical can utilize. So they formed a framework, stationary office within the British government formed a framework for ITL1, which was basically talking about how IT can be used to enable the product delivery of internal services to the organization, or enabling the uh, business growth in the organization at that point in time. So it started with the version 1 in 1990s. It became matured when we came into version 2 was released in approximately in 2001, where it also categorized or also influenced how service management can be delivered post implementation of products and services was internally for a growth of the organization. But still, there was no business enhancement, which came into picture in ITL3 V3 version in 2007, where actually how business growth can happen. That was the era when everybody was trying to go enterprise wide across the organization. So how organization can use the enterprise-wide resources in better planning their business growth and enabling the business through IT and so on and so forth was introduced, which was the most famous framework which people are aware of, in which lifecycle management was there for IT services, which included the service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, and continual service improvement. That was basically a model based on the PDCA, which was basically given by the Deming's wheel. Professor Deming had created that cycle, which was utilized in ISO, etc., which enabled everybody to understand how life cycle management can happen. So it was introduced by even in the ITIL framework. In 2011, there were certain additions made with respect to the guiding principles in ITIL 2011 update. In 2019, they came up with the new version wherein the we went away or did with the life cycle model to a service value system model, which was basically enhancing the value to the consumers in line with their expectation consistently. Now, there was very little thing in or the enablers were there as a part of 4 dimensions of service management, but very little was spoken about how AI can be utilized in day-to-day activities of the production service management. So I, 26 recent in February, this was released for public release was done on 13th of February 2026 for ITIL Foundation version 5, wherein using AI, a basic importance was incorporated related to AI, how AI can enable as a tool to deliver better digital products and services to the consumer organizations or the consumers within the organization and beyond the organization. So that was the brief about the roadmap, how it was taken into account.
Right. Thank you for clearly explaining that. So clearly, ITIL has evolved with time, with also the demands that have been changing over time. So it was great to know about the evolution. And I think now let's move on to one of the most important aspects of this webinar, which is the comparison between ITIL version 4 and ITIL version 5, because we also see that a few of our participants already have ITIL version 4. So they just want to know the updates that have come up in version 5. So could you just talk to us about that?
Yeah, sure. So when we are comparing it, the ITL 4 was basically called as Service Management Framework. So in the service management, we spoke about the basic activities of 6 type of activities within the service value chain. So which we called it as the basic service value chain activities: plan, improve, engage, design, transition, obtain and build, and deliver and support. Now, this has been more aligned to the journey of customer services in terms of products and digital products and services in ITL version 5, wherein these was split into the discovery. You can show that discovery. Then we came into the discovery, design, acquire. Then we have build, transition, operate, deliver, and support. And these were the 6 activities was transferred into 8 activities as a part of the central component of the service value system. In ITL 4, we called it as service value system. In V5 version 5, we call it as digital production service management. So inclusion of digital production services, not only services, but products has been also included. So hence the importance of product vendors is very critical in enabling the delivery of production services through the partners and suppliers as well. So for example, the digital product vendors are basically Microsoft, digital product vendors, or ServiceNow as a digital product vendor, or even your digital product vendor could be in terms of your e-commerce platform, your the platform related to booking platform, banking platforms, and so on and so forth. In ITL 4, we had around 34 practices, which were classified into 3 types of practices: general management practices, service management practices, and technical management practice. As far as ITIL 5 version is concerned, the practices are 34 only, but they're reclassified in terms of general management practices and the digital products and service management practices. Now, in ITL 4, we had 14 general management practices. In the 17 practices were related to the service management practices, and 3 practices were related to technical management practices. Now, in ITL 5 version, we have 12 general management practices and 22 products and service management practice. So regrouping has been done. There is a huge coverage. The AI was not covered in depth or as explicitly in ITIL 4 version, but in ITIL 5, version 5, it has been explicitly covered as a part of the 4 dimensions of service management, in organization and people dimension, in IT, information and technology dimension, specifically with respect to AI enabling tools, and what are basically the constraints which have to be taken care of related to AI, that has been included. In IT service management earlier, we had 3 major parameters which enabled delivery of products and services, which were related to was utility, warranty, and experience. Now it has been new thing has been added apart from utility, warranty, and experience. We have the sustainability has been added, which is very critical for a service provider to sustain their services in line with the expectations of the consumer, which also talks about personalization of services in line with the expectations of the consumers. This is a very critical aspect which has come into picture. And then we are talking about the platform engineering was not addressed here because of the production service management. Digital production service management is there. So how all these 8 value chain activities enable both service management and digital product management is covered. The product engineering has been covered over here as a part of the 8-step approach to value streams. Then 7 guiding principles were there in ITL 4 as well. Also in ITL 5, we have 4 guiding principle, but each of the guiding principle, when we apply it, how they can be enabled, additional portion has been added, how AI can apply the guiding principle better in the organization. That has been covered. This is a brief about what are the enhancements made as compared in version 5 as compared to version 4.
Thanks for clearly explaining the difference. I think we also received a question from the audience about the key differences, and I hope this clarified your query on that. With that, I think it's important for us to talk about the key concepts in ITIL Foundation version 5. Could you talk to us about the 4 dimensions of service management? Have there been any updates, or does it still remain the same?
Prima facie, 4 dimensions remains the same, but however, with the special emphasis, as I told you earlier, has been put on AI, how people and AI in organization and people dimension, how people and AI can work together, right? That means the automation can be done and people are kept free for taking strategic involvement and strategic improvement in the organization in line with the market demands. That's what has been added as a part of AI in people and organization and people dimension. AI as a part of information and technology dimension. AI has been categorically useful in enhancing the areas of delivery of digital products and services, how it can be enhanced, how they can be used better to continually improve the digital products and services in line with the expectations of the consumer. And why partners dimension has become very critical and important is apart from partners and suppliers, one more addition has been done, which is called as the digital product vendor, which is very important. Digital product vendors, I gave you example earlier as well. Now, few of the examples are also digital product vendors are related to enablement of hardware, like the networking hardware, the data center related network related the relations with respect to the internet enhancements. All these are part of partners, which cannot be done by the service provider organization, but they need to be acquired. That's why acquire is one of the activities after discovery design. The acquirers, all the activities cannot be done in-house by the service provider. Hence, the acquirement of digital products and services can be done through a third party, where more emphasis has been done on how to acquire them and what are the mechanisms to acquire them, and also how to control the digital the acquisition part of it from digital products and services. That has been enhanced in the partners and suppliers dimension. Value streams and processes, needless to say, it is very critical and important aspect. Herein, in the value stream and processes, again, the enhancement has been done with respect to utilization of AI, and also the concept of value stream mapping, value stream analysis, and value stream management has been added compared to earlier version. So that's how all the four dimensions which act as the resources of the service value system or value system to deliver products and services has been enhanced. Now, earlier version of ITL 4 always spoke about service management. Here we talk about digital products and service management. So that has been categorically enhanced to take care of digital delivery of digital products and services, because no organization today can deliver products and services to enhance experience to the consumer without utilization of digital platforms. Hence, digital products and services have been very highly emphasized, including AI.
Right. Those are some prominent changes that have happened in
Four dimensions of service management. Yeah.
So, yes. And with that, I think another important concept, which is also pretty known for being heavily tested, is the seven guiding principles. So, could you help us understand how it has changed with AI and automation coming into the picture? Does it remain the same, or how can they apply these seven guiding principles to navigate through AI and automation?
Sure. So as we say, the all the seven guiding principle, the basic concept remains the same. They are all integrated, all act together. Then they cannot be used in isolation. One-off cases is not possible. All these guiding principles together enhance or helps in adapting and adopting. Adapting is to inherit from the previous thing, the way you are working, and adapt is to make course correction to the things which you are learning. That means improving the activities is what has been taken care. Then we are talking in terms of the service value adoption and adoption of the service value system. Then it helps in building the culture in the organization, and it also helps build continual improvement culture in the organization. All the seven guiding principles, right from focus on value, start where you are, progress with feedback, collaborate and promote visibility, think and work holistically, keep it simple and practical. A separate application section has been added in each of the respective guiding principles as to how AI can be used to enhance the enablement of enablement of implementation of all the guiding principle working together. And we also normally say that all the seven guiding principles act as a mesh network. They are integrated with each other. Hence, they enable development or delivery of create an organization culture of continual improvement culture in the organization. So AI is being put as a specific part for applying AI. How AI is applied in all the seven guiding principles has specifically been added. We discussed this as a part of our discussion, as a part of the seven guiding principles when we discuss in detail this chapter as a part of the syllabus. More emphasis has been given on applying the AI in the guiding principle. That's what has been added, which was not there in version 4.
Right. Yeah. So the emphasis has heavily been on AI, and one more aspect that I think has changed a little was service value chain is now the value chain activities. And could you talk more about that?
Yeah, sure. So as I told you, in version 4, we had a service value chain activities, which was a central component of the service value system. Now we have that has been enhanced and replaced, to be very fair, let's say enhanced to the digital products and service value chain, digital production service, digital production, or it is now just called as value chain instead of service value chain, because the word services in ITL 5 version 5 has been replaced by digital product and service. So it is no longer a service management, it is digital product and service management. So hence the service value system has also been renamed or enhanced to digital production service value system directly. We don't call it as digital production service value system. We call it as a value system. Similarly, service value chain has activities has been enhanced to value chain activities. So it is no longer only applicable to the service management, but it is also applicable to digital products and digital products as well. So we have seen earlier in the previous couple of slides, we have seen that the 6 service value chain activities have now been moved to 8 activities. So we had 6 activities related to plan, improve, engage, design, transition, obtain and build, deliver and support. Now they have been bifurcated and made specifically and aligned to the customer journey. Whenever the customer journey starts, it always starts with a discovery. You discover what you want. Discovery is all about understanding the needs of the consumer. That's part of very critical. That's sometimes we call it as a discovery, sometimes we call it an awareness, depending upon what applications we are using. That can be understanding the needs of the customer is a paramount, or the consumer is paramount, and hence the discover activity has been added over here. Understand the environment, understand basically the whatever, where the opportunity exists, where there are demands, where are all those things coming in from. So we discover as to what are the needs of the consumer. Now, typically in ERP, if you're applying this as a ERP, then this is discovery becomes a part of the business blueprinting. Or if when you're talking about software development, this becomes a part of requirements management as a application. Okay. Then we talk about once we are done with the requirements, we have requirement traceability matrix created, which includes the acceptance criteria as well, which is a part of discovery. Once the discovery is happening, how we are going to whatever is strategically addressed, what are the strategies, what are the deliveries has to be done in a strategic way. They are all needed to be put into design stage, designed properly. Now here something like 2 aspects of prototyping has been added. Design includes prototyping. Prototyping can be physical prototyping, virtual prototyping, or whatever you want to call it. You can use that. This enables whether the strategy which is put in place is really achievable through designing mechanism. Here, this leads to basically high-level design document and low-level design document in scenarios of your uh, software development practice. Now, this design also leads to, as a in a ERP kind of a scenario, it will lead to a configuration rationale document, how the gap analysis, what will be implemented directly using a product, or what will be customization needed is found out here. Based on this, the next activity, once the design prototype is completed, some of the activities will be done by the service provider organization. Some of them activities will be conducted by the through partners and suppliers. That's where the acquire comes into picture, because everything cannot be done by the service provider organization themselves. So they need to, like digital products which are required. So those are acquired through digital product vendors. That is covered here. And build is something which the organization within the service provider organization will internally either configure it or develop it in-house. So that is done. Once that is development is completed, testing is completed as a part of this production service, then it is moved into a staging environment. That's all about transitioning we are talking about. Once the transitioning happens, we put it into a staging environment where again the testing and all that will happen. User acceptance testing will happen. When it happens, it moves into the day-to-day operations. Production environment is keeping the service running day-to-day. That's operation. Once the operations are in place, the delivery happens. We seek a feedback, incorporate that feedback, continuously improve, and keep on supporting. So support activity handles the request and feedback and aligns the services and products in line with the expectations of their consumer consistently. So both the product, the development life cycle and the service life cycle fits into this 8 activities as the service value system or value system. So it's a central component which enables delivery of digital products and services in line with the expectations of the consumer. It's a central part of it. Of course, the other components like digital governance. Governance includes nowadays digital governance practices enable the it's a practice will also include the service these value chain activities along with the practices combined together to create a value stream which enable delivery of products and services in line with the expectations of the consumers. That's what has been put into place. Guiding principles are on top, which enables the flexibility needed by the organization to consistently enhance their products and services and have continual improvement in place. So that's how the entire digital products and service management framework has been put in place as a part of ITL version 5. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for clearly explaining that. I'm sure the whole value chain activities is clear for everyone here. Also for sharing, thanks also for sharing everything in a very detailed manner. So that was great to know. Another important aspect that we wanted to address in this webinar is also something that a lot of participants struggle with, and that is differentiating between incident, problem, and change in exam scenarios. Could you please explain this in detail for the audience?
Yeah, sure. So basically, let us first look at the categories. We'll go one step by step. Don't read the slide completely. So first part is a definition part of it. We say incident. By definition, the incident is these are important aspects which are required to be remembered as a part of the exam. Normally, the question comes on these. These are also part of when you're talking about incident, problem, or enhanced changes. This reflects to the value chain activities operate, deliver, and support. So they are related to those three activities also. So incident by definition is an unplanned interruption in services or reduction in quality of service. Then we say problem is a cause or a potential cause of one or more incidents or recurring incidences, and change is nothing but addition, deletion, or modification of anything that affects the products and services. Now, purpose of incident is basically to minimize the negative impact of incidents and restore the normal service operations as quickly as possible. Service operations are always part of deliver and support activity post operations. Post, we put it in the operating environment on day-to-day environment. This is very critical. And then we talk about the problem is always it's a proactive approach which is taken by the service provider organization as a part of deliver to reduce the likelihood and impact of the incident by understanding the cause or a potential cause of an incident and managing the workaround for the known errors. And then we are talking about change purpose is to maximize the number of IT changes that by ensuring that the risk have been clearly assessed, authorized changes, and manage the change schedule. The scope of this change is very big. Entire your entire operation and maintenance environment is subjected to change. The change includes the infrastructure. The change includes the uh, softwares. The change includes the products and services. The change includes the documentation. That is, documentation could be related to your uh, maintenance documents or development documents, maintenance or lifecycle documents as SDLC lifecycle documents or ERP or product implementation lifecycle documents, apart from your go live documents, which are related to technical reference manual, the user manual, Euro context manual, training material. It's all subjected. It is subjected. Also, scope of change includes the process, which is the service value chain activities or value chain activities and the value streams. It is also subject. Also, improvement of relationship between service provider and the service consumers. So all that change includes everything. Every gamut of day-to-day activities are subjected to change enhancement. So hence we call it as change enablement management. So basically, in our timelines where the changes, where incidents are concerned, incident timelines are very well defined as a part of the contractual binding between service provider and service consumer, which is taken care as a part of the service level management practice, which is having a back-to-back arrangement with the production service vendor. So underpinning contracts comes as a part of the supplier management practice. Now you have timelines given for problem. Specifically, very difficult to give an exact timeline because when a cause or a root cause has been found out, it may take time. So we might provide the workaround for that. So it is a medium range or sometimes long range depending upon the investigation. Now, change enablement is always approval is based on the approvals given by the consumer organization. The changes are incorporated, implemented by the products and service providers in line with the agreed schedule for change enablement. Also, in fact, we define the changes into three types of changes. General, first is standard change, normal change, and emergency change. These are all like already considered as a part of the agreement between service provider and service owner. So output of was incident is resolved. The outcome is these new services or the restoration outcome is the restoration of normal business operation. In case of output, in case of problem management is basically known error record and the permanent fix. We find out normally the permanent fix is implemented using change enablement practice. So implementation of change enablement, implementation of change, implement, review, release, and deploy are part of change enablement. Triggers for basically for incident is incident request, which is also called is a part of the demand. We call it in the value system as a demand or a opportunity. Demand is defined as needs of products and services amongst the consumers, which basically is a request made by the consumer. Incident request, service request, change request. These are the three kinds of major requests which are made. As such, there is no specific request made for problem management. This is automatically triggered by the service provider organization in line with the number of incidents they are having based on the problem identification based on the criteria of proactive problem identification and reactive problem identification concepts that will is considered there. And always the change is triggered through a request for change, except for your emergency change, which is identified. The scenarios of emergencies are identified as a part of your contractual binding, which could be in terms of showstoppers, which are nothing but outages, which can be cyber attacks or something like that. Okay, are possibly way. These are few of them. Then, as far as exams are concerned, it is very important to understand the definition there. Uh, the triggers are given over there to identify, which can enable you identify incident, problem, or a change. Very easy to understand in an exam perspective. When we read the questions always related to any of the practices or any of the service value or value chain activities, it's important to understand the purpose of that, underline the keyword in the question. And by underlining the keyword in the question, one can very easily identify to which syllabary area this belongs to. So that's very important for exam perspective, which is specified as the last row. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for clearly explaining that also in depth. I hope that clarifies all of your queries regarding incident, problem, and change management. So I think it's time for us. We've covered the concepts already, and I think it's time for us to talk about the exam, which is also very important for most of the participants who are here today attending this webinar. So with ITIL version 5, could you give us an exam overview about what has changed and what can they expect if they are new to this field and are attempting this exam?
Okay. So there are in ITIL version 5, there are two ways in which you can take. This is about the normal exam we are talking about, where there is nothing required, no prerequisites are required. These are called as the fresh ITIL version 5 take, which is 40 number of questions is 40 questions. There are three types of questions, and there's four types of questions normally asked. One is standard or objective type questions. Each of the questions have basically four options, no more than four options. There are standard OTQ, non-standard OTQ, list questions, which are called as identify the missing word in the following question is the missing word question, and a list questions is related to the two couple of options, right? So those are covered. There are 40 questions asked, which is with no negative marking. Each question carry 1 mark. Weightage is similar. Now you get a timelines of around 60 minutes to cover it. Okay, that means 90 seconds per question. Very simple, 90 seconds per question. And it's very, sometimes it's more than enough to understand from which syllabus area and work around and identify the right answer. So there is no negative marking, so you have to attempt everything. If you get more than 65% of the marks, that is 26 marks, you clear the exam and you're awarded a certificate, which is valid from the date of you clearing the exam to plus 3 years. This is what is there, validity. So in this scenario, you are not allowed to use any material. Okay. So no book, it's a closed book exam. No material is allowed to be used. Only you have to rely on the understanding of the concept and the examples which are given during the session should be remembered. Now, this is available in two parts. Part one, this is a part one which fresh is totally a fresh. You go for ITL version 5 foundation examination. There is also a bridge exam, which we'll be talking about as we go ahead. It's a 50% of what you see here. There are only 20 questions are asked. You get 30 minutes time and 13 marks to clear that exam. Bridge is applicable for the people who has already done ITL 4 version and they want to enhance their knowledge or upgrade their knowledge to ITL version 5, foundation version 5. So they have bridge exam for that. This is officially declared by People Cert. So those are also available with Simplilearn as we see. We'll take it forward. We'll understand that
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So now that everyone has an overview of the exam and what to expect, you've been a mentor for so many years and you would have already seen a lot of common mistakes that a lot of people make during their exams. So could you talk to us about the common mistakes that you usually see and how one can avoid those while preparation or while giving the exam?
So here basically people tend to memorize the definition. You don't have to memorize any of the definition. First thing, very critical and important, is to have a understanding of what is being said. So what is there in digital products and services or whatever the concepts are there, we need to remember the concepts through an example, not by memorizing those definitions. That's first important thing. Because when you memorize it, the statement which you memorize is not exactly the statement which will come from an exam in an exam there. So it is not a twisted one. It may be a partial statement which they make. Okay. So then you will get confused as to why that has happened. So no need of memorizing. You need to understand it, understand the concept behind it, understand the rationale behind it, and with an example, remember it. And when you do so, when you also underline the keyword in the question, you will understand which syllabus area it is coming from. There is no trick at all. It is no rocket science. It is very simple and straightforward. But focusing on the definition and along with their examples is very critical aspect. So you need to understand the concept behind why the question has been asked. Okay, sometimes because when you underline the question, there may be a couple of keywords. So do not misunderstand the intent of each of the keywords. So in each keyword has a very in-depth meaning. So you address that. Word like best, first. Okay. When you say best means there all the four statements would be aligned to the question. Which best matches that is what is to be given. Now, for example, in a value stream, there will be what is the first step which is done. Then you talk about the first step. First is initial step which is taken. So for example, you are given the activities related to discover, design, acquire, build, transition, operate, deliver, and support. In that case, it will ask you what is the first activity which happens in the value chain activities. So discover is answer. That's how you need to understand the concept behind it. Applying updated perspective is what is selecting answers aligned with every framework rather than just an updated value set. So it is important and critical. Again, you have to understand the in-depth meaning of the question itself. Do not apply with your perspective, this I have seen basically does happen in a scenario where you say, okay, in my organization, I'm doing it this way, right? But it is not what your organization does. It is what is the recommendation of the framework, which is being evaluated, is what is critical for you to answer. So don't make that mistake. I do like this in the organization, hence ITIL 5 version, Foundation version 5 is saying that. No, it is the other way around. Okay, so you have to focus on the recommendations of ITIL Foundation 5 framework says. Skipping scenarios based on practice. So here basically most of the scenarios in Foundation version 5, you will have we don't have basic scenarios given. You have to understand the concept and you have to understand the in-depth meaning of the concept. There are no scenarios given at all here. There is a scenario which ITIL 4 talks about as a car hire system or a car hire scenario, which is a digital car hire. Okay, they call it a digital car hire, which is a common syllabus, common scenario, right through foundation to the masters, all ITIL 5 version 5 master. Same scenario is there, but that scenario is, there are no scenario based questions in foundation. What happens in this car hire scenario is definitely that will not be asked in foundation. Higher level, yes, but not in this. Here, the scenarios would be basically related to the concept, the definition, the theory, right? That's important to focus on.
Right. Thank you for actually sharing such wonderful tips with the audience. And I'm sure a few of them are wondering how they can prepare strategically or how much time does it take and how can they effectively prepare for the upcoming exam as well for the ones who are attempting this. So could you share your insights on that?
Sure. So actually, important thing is basically when we study, it's important as if you join Simplilearn course, then there are few things which are very, very important. Pre-attending session studies is given, that is available, where we have the basically the self-learning videos are there, which you go through. Then also before that also you have, when you register with Simplilearn, you will have a kit which is given, the learner's kit, which is given by PeopleCert, which is put as a part of the one of the important downloads in which can be downloaded from learning management system of Simplilearn, can be done. So that is very important aspect which you should cover. As you are going through the course, you need to look at what contents have been covered and remain focused on the contents and discussion during the session over that. That's important aspect. Also, in a Simplilearn scenario, there is a courseware or there is a learning management system area is there, wherein there are mock tests available and simulation tests are available. I believe there are two mock tests and three simulation tests, two mock tests and three simulation tests for version for Foundation version 5 available. So please do not attempt them unless the theoretical part is covered, because these are all the question set is already based on the entire syllabus of ITL Foundation version 5. It is not chapter wise, it is amalgamated. So again, the best practice to do this is always you have to have one reading. Either you go through the entire set of self-learning videos once, or you attend the uh, uh, G- uh, like global live virtual classroom session first, and then attempt these practice tests. That will make more sense out of it. And once that is completed, you always have time there. As a part of the next step, we always talk about what is the thing which you need to focus on during next 7 to 15 days is to solve all the sample papers mock test available. There is also restriction. There is on a learning management system version before you go for foundation version 5 exam, you have to at least get 2 sample papers cleared with more than 65% of the marks, and then attempt the final exam, not before that. But it is not restricted to only two. That is for exam voucher, 80% attendance plus solving the 2 sample papers is for a requisite requirement for opening of your attendance certificate. Once the attendance certificate is completed, you get exam voucher. But between that time, actually taking an exam, the rest of the sample papers also needs to be solved. And you should have one round, once you register with PeopleCert, you also get an official ebook from PeopleCert, which is a manual, which is exactly which can be read. It is suggested to read one uh, one round of reading of the manual, which will enable you, apart from it will enable you to basically revise more and keep on solving questions, which will consistently, the topic would be in front of you, visibility will be there, and your clarity will come, and you will feel more confident that you keep on solving the questions. You will feel more confident about clearing an exam in the first attempt. That's very important. Do not straight away, okay, you got a good marks in, let's say, to all the 2 sample papers, don't worry about anything. You go ahead and give the exam. That sometimes works, but better that you be careful about solving all the available resource. Take care, use the available resources which are there on LMS, as well as once you register with PeopleCert, the official version of the manual is available for you to read through. One recommendation is one read is important.
Right. Thank you for sharing some good preparation strategies that they can adopt. If they choose Simplilearn or not, these are some great tips. And apart from that, the next segment that we wanted to cover was the study plan for all of our participants. So we do have 2 segments here. One is for people who are completely new to ITIL, and one for people who have already taken the certification. So could you share the 4-week study plan that professionals who are new to ITIL can follow to clear this exam?
Sure. So here the in the first week, we basically you can understand the self-study is there. You also can attend the class as a part of the first week itself. So understand about the ITIL. Why even in a class we have 4 sessions we conduct. Basically, the 4-hour session will include the chapters related to the key concept chapter, service management, service relationships chapter. Then we cover value system. Then we cover in detail about the guiding principles. We cover continual improvement model. We cover 8 activities of the service value chain activities in detail. Then we go about into the next chapter, which is related to the 4 dimensions of service management. When we go ahead into the how AI can be used in ITL, a separate chapter module. And then finally, we also talk about how the other framework, how ITIL is associated with other frameworks like DevOps and the project management framework of Prince 2 Foundation and Practitioner, Prince 2 and Prince 2 Agile. So that is what we do. That is part of the training, which can be done in 2 weeks across whatever the choice. Various options are available. 2 hours option for attending the session, 4 hours crash course of 8 hours within 2 working day, 1 weekend, 2 weekends. All that is there available. After that, instance practice work, which I already discussed about with you. When you're doing a practice, basically ensure that you are in touch with the topic. At least you need to spend an hour's time every day not only going through the resources which are available in terms of recording, in terms of the courseware, in terms of concepts, slides which will be there also, and also the resource related to the ITL manual, which is given by PeopleCert once you register with the PeopleCert for examination. Then revise them, give the on the fourth week, you concentrate on focusing on solving the sample papers. Every day, spend around 2 hours of time, 1.5 hours to 2 hours time. Look at once you solve it, you get the answers also at the end, so that you know which are the weak areas, which are your strength areas. So leverage on the strength areas and rework on the read through the weak areas and enhance them, and be ready to take an exam. So that's how generally the 4-week plan works out to be.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And we also have to talk about the study plan for people who've already completed the ITIL version 4 certification. So could you just tell them what they can do to?
So first thing is, there is already during, again in that scenario, we do have a session of 8 hour session to be covered. There is official session which has been announced by PeopleCert and conducted by most of the uh, authorized training organization of PeopleCert. So here there is on the delta between ITL 4 and ITL 5 framework, we have a session covered wherein we talk about the differences in key concepts, which are basically additions of key concepts like digital products and services. We talk about the service relationships. We talk about the diamond model of products and service management. Then we talk about the difference between the newly introduced activities, each set of activities. We speak about how 34 practices can be aligned, but there are no specific practices covered in ITIL version 5 for foundation. These are all higher level studies it has been moved to. So core concept building is understanding the AI governance framework and explore and core element of service design, products and service design, and strong understanding about the platform. And again, the week 3, week 4 remains the same way as we do it for the bigger session. So again, your revision, understanding question, answering, making use of all the resources available, and solving all the sample papers, working on the weakness and leveraging on your strength. That's what is important.
Right. So thank you for sharing that. And I think we've covered almost everything in this webinar that we set the agenda for. With that, I would like to take you all through the ITIL Foundation Bridge course that Bipin already spoke about, which is an 8-hour bridge course that we offer at Simplilearn as well. So for people who already hold the certification, the next thing, the biggest question that you all have is, do I have to start over? And the answer is definitely no, like Bipin mentioned earlier. So it helps you, this bridge course helps you upgrade from ITL version 4 to 5 in just 5 hours. So you're not relearning everything from scratch. You're only focusing on what has actually changed, the parts that matter for today's exam and the way IT works right now. So I'll quickly show you some of the key course highlights as a part of this bridge course. So we have an industry aligned curriculum. So like I mentioned, it's an 8-hour focused ITL Foundation bridge course. These are also live instructor-led online trainings accredited by ITIL experts. We also have an all-inclusive exam package. So official ITIL Foundation Bridge exam fee is also included as a part of this bridge course, and a mock test and support. So it includes 2 full-length mock tests and 24/7 learner support to help you throughout your learning journey in case you face any problems while learning. So our team is there to help you with that. The course investment for this bridge course for Indian learners is 17,300 rupees, and for US learners is $319. And for anyone joining us from APAC, Africa, or Middle East, it's $240. So you can visit our landing page and it will show you the cost depending on the country you are logging in from. And what this includes, like I mentioned earlier, is you have a flexi class. So you have the flexibility to reschedule your cohort within the first 30 days case if you face any problems. And you have lifetime access to high quality self-paced learning. So you can keep going back to the topics if you want to upgrade yourself or if you want to refresh your memory. Mock tests we already spoke about, and the exam voucher, as I mentioned. So this is one option that you have if you already have the certification. If you are ITIL version 4 certified, then you can consider this. For someone who is absolutely new to ITIL and want to take the ITIL Foundation version 5, then we have a separate course for this as well. And like earlier, the key highlights of this course are we offer a 100% first attempt exam pass guarantee, but we also have some requirements for this. So if you meet all the criteria, we provide this guarantee. As a part of this course, you also get 22 PDUs with accredited training. So you can use the PDUs to write other exams as well. It qualifies you for this can be counted for project management as well, where PDUs are mandatory. We provide an all-inclusive exam package. So like I mentioned earlier, this also includes the People Cert exam voucher, official courseware, ebook, cheat sheets, and study plan. So we ensure that by the end of this course, you are completely ready to clear this exam. And apart from that, we also provide 100 plus premium questions and simulations, which is a very important aspect for any exam preparation if you're really invested in this, right? So we have deep practice with quizzes, mock tests, industry cases, and exam style assessments, which make sure that you are completely ready to clear your exam in the very first attempt. And we clearly focus on the learner experience. So we have top industry experts like Bipin lead all of our classes. So we will ensure that your learning journey with us is also great. So that is some of the key highlights of the ITIL version 5 foundation that we offer. So coming to the course curriculum, Bipin, could you just walk them through the course curriculum, some of the main topics that we cover?
Yeah, sure. This is as discussed earlier. This is for the full course version. We cover with the ITL key terms and definitions and service. It includes the product, service, digital products definition, then service, digital services, service management, digital service management, production service management. All these are keywords, around 20 odd, 30 keywords. Then service relationships we'll cover as a part of these definitions. Then four dimensions of service management, which is chapter 2 in the foundation guide, which has been given by People Cert. Then we go into the product and service management life cycle, which is nothing but your 8 activities, which will be covered in detail, which are very much part of the service value system. Then value streams and value stream identification, value stream mapping, value stream analysis, and finally the value stream management is what is covered in value stream chapter. Then we also discussed about ITIL and AI, how AI can help enhance enable ITIL framework. And then finally, we cover with the 7th chapter, which is the ITIL and other frameworks, specifically with respect to DevOps, and was at the Prince2 for Agile and Prince2. That is project management framework of Prince2 Agile and Prince2 Normal. That's what is covered as a part of course curriculum. Yeah.
Thank you for taking us through the course curriculum. If you would like to explore more, you can definitely go to our course page and you will get all the details for this course. So we also have a QR code that you can scan. I will share that with you shortly. So the course fee or the course investment for this ITL version 5 foundation for Indian learners is 32,813 rupees. And for US learners, it's $799. For APAC, Africa or Middle East, it's $699. So you can check the course fee also on our website. And what this includes, like I mentioned earlier, is live online classroom training, People Cert training, material, exam free, and ebook. You also get 22 PDUs, quizzes, mock tests that we already spoke about, and you have the flexibility to reschedule your cohort as well. So think about it. If this could provide a lot of value to your career, probably get you the next promotion or that job upgrade that you have always been looking for. So sometimes it's just your life changes with one decision. Do your own research. Think about all the courses out there. We're very confident of what we provide. So it would be great if you can check out our course and its benefits as well. So here is the QR code, and you can scan this code to get to the course page where you have all the program details. You can see the curriculum, the instructors, and what the course looks like for you. And with that, I'm going to quickly launch a poll for the audience. If you are interested in this program and would like to explore more or know more details about it, you can click on a yes, and our team will reach out to you and to help you with all of your queries. So we look forward to having all of you with us. I'm going to quickly launch this poll. I hope the poll is also visible to all of you. So even if you're considering the bridge course or the ITIL version 5 foundation, you can click on a yes. It's applicable for both of this. So when the advisor calls you, you can tell them exactly what you're looking forward for, and they're going to help you and assist you with that. So that is, I hope the poll is visible to all of you. Okay, all right. Yeah, so in the meantime, if any of you have any other questions, you can post your questions in the Q&A box, and I can pass on those questions to Vipin as well. So if you have any questions, please do let us know. I'm going to keep the Q&A open for a while. So yeah, I think these are just, whatever we have are just comments. Okay, simple keywords. There's someone who had asked for examples, but during that time you did clearly mention some examples. So that is answered. All right. If you have any other questions, feel free to share, and this is your time to answer the poll as well. I saw a few questions about the recording and the slide deck. I just wanted to clarify that I'll be launching another poll for the certificates, which will come right after this. So if you fill up your details, you'll have to share your full name, and you will receive the certificates, the slide deck, and the recording to your email ID. So you don't have to worry about that. All right. So I think with that, I'm going to end this poll here. Even if you missed the poll or were not able to see the poll, you can go to the course page and you will be able to see all the details. There will be an option to talk to an advisor. Click on that, and our team will be there to help you with any queries you may have. With that, I'm also going to launch the certificate poll for all of you right now. I hope this is visible to the audience. All right. Okay. So please make sure that you fill up your full name. Okay, I can see responses come in. Great. Please don't share your names in the chat because the chat is not recorded and we will not be able to send out certificates if I think Surabhi has shared her name. So Surabhi, please share your name in the poll. If the poll is not visible to you, you can write to us at webinars@simplilearn.net. I will share it in the chat as well. Yeah. So everyone, please don't share your names in the chat. I have shared an email ID. In case the poll is not visible to you guys, please mail us at webinars@simplilearn.net. And we will share all the resources, the recording certificate, and the slide deck with all of you as well. So as you all are filling up this form, I would also like to take this time to thank Bipin for this wonderful webinar. As always, I love hosting you. Learned a lot about ITIL version 5 and how one can, transition to this as well. And I'm sure the audience also benefited greatly from this webinar. So thank you for joining us. It was great having you, like always. So is there anything that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap up?
Yeah, sure. The important thing is it's always important and us to stay abreast with the latest in the market or latest in the technology, latest in any other domain. So hence it is very important to update ourselves with the latest in ITL, also service management framework also. So be latest, to be latest is always a good idea. And also by doing so, we need to enjoy in what we do always. So keep on enjoying and acquire yourself with or equip yourself with the latest knowledge required so that you can also become your skill sets and competencies become latest as a part of the market demands. So enjoy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your great words. I'm sure everyone enjoyed. I can see a few comments also. Thank you all for sharing such positive comments with us. There's someone asking if this webinar counts for PDUs. Yes, usually our webinars do get counted as PDUs. Not for ITIL though, but you can probably add that once you receive the certificate. So with that, I'm going to quickly end this poll for everyone here. All right. So thank you guys for your wonderful responses. If you've missed on, if you've not been able to see the poll, or if you've joined us from other platforms and we're not able to fill it up, you can always mail us, like I mentioned. And with that, I would also like to thank all of you for staying back with us throughout the webinar, for being a great audience, great engagement, and great responses. I loved hosting all of you guys, and I really hope to see all of you in our upcoming webinars as well. If you have any suggestions or feedback, you can again write to us. We are more than happy to hear from all of you. So with that, I'm going to end this webinar, and I hope to see all of you in the upcoming sessions. With that, bye everyone, and thank you, Bipin, once again.